And you know, merchandising them, and I'm sorry, those photos are better, so I'll just turn to here. Merging them together and having gifts and functional together. We thought when we first tested this, and we actually got it, there was a lawn and garden center that came to our trade show 3 years ago in Missouri that did Bird of the Month. And I got to give them credit. There's a store called the Rock Pile. And they did Bird of the Month, and they would put everything related to cardinals out front 1 month. And this is another way of doing this. They put everything, and they just didn't put their feeders out like so many of us did. And it worked. I took it to our store and I tested it, and we took it out to 10 stores to test, and it really works. Now, one thing that worked, we knew would happen, is we sell more gifts. We sell gift items, book items by doing that. But the data point that continues to blow me away is you will sell more functional items by doing this. And we're finally figuring out why. We've actually had, honestly, a couple hardware stores help us clock how long ladies shop in this section. And what happens is where they had rows of feeders in the past, the amount of time you would spend there as a lady going by the feeders is much less than if we give you all this cutesy stuff to look at. Okay, you like to shop and look at the cute little hummingbird that's got the key holder in the bottom, and you think about whether somebody would like this mug on there, and you do this. You reach down, and you pick it up, and you put it down, and then oh, you accidentally see a hummingbird feeder right there beside it. And the other thing with that I can't figure out how to get data on it, but I believe that by seeing the image over and over, I think we're getting some subliminal thing that, oh, I'm going to get that if I buy this guy. Okay? I think some of that is going on, but we have not got statistical data to prove that. That's just gut instinct. But I am very, very convinced now. It doesn't have to be, we're believers in these rolling four-sided slat wall things. It doesn't have to be on there. You'll see in some of the slides coming up that it can go down the wall the same way. But so many of us say we're going to change our stores. We're going to change the set all the time, but it just doesn't always happen. I met with some new store owners. I mean, particularly when you have a chance to do some new space. I don't care whether and we give away the drawings for these things, we're not in the furniture business, but having some way to move things constantly. We change our store every 30 days. Okay? People come in, oh, you remodeled. Yeah, we sure did. You know, it was 7 to 10 minutes. It closed last night. Just moving the hummingbird pinwheel up, and moving the cardinal one back, and moving the goldfinch over. So, you know, think about, I won't do a store myself if I can't easily roll it and move it. These all have heavy-duty casters. So, however you want it, there's other fixtures out there, but I encourage you hard to think about that. Before I get into merchandising tips and drawing people in, I just wanted, once they said you're going to give a talk, man, when I was traveling, I said, okay, instead of me just blurbing what I think, let's take some pictures while you travel around. So all these pictures were taken in November and December as I was out seeing some people and trying to show you different kinds of stores that sell birds. This store used to be an antique store. If you see their sign now, it's Backyard Birds and Garden Frills. And we'll quickly go through it. One of the things that impressed me, and I want to do this at my own store, I have functional birdhouses out front, and they don't have this really cool set of empty looking ones. And there's a whole different client that wants these houses than what the ones that I got out front. So keep that in mind, all of those functional guys. Okay? Just showing this is an old building, it's an upstairs room. There's some things I like or don't like here, but it's just showing that mix of eclectic with others. I use this slide, I say the words out of the box and hanging in my sleep. All of you, no matter gift, business, hardware, lawn and garden, that is a key to this category. You need some of the product out of the box and hanging. You'll see it here on the pinwheel. Okay, lighting's important, and she does a much better job here than what that photo shows. If you look at the track lighting, a lot of us need a little bit of help on that when I go out and tour. That's Julie, the owner, and again, just looking, this was obviously an old antique store. She, in her case, because of that, very, very high mix on decorative. Okay, she does very, very good on the decorative side. Uses some of her own antiques, the wagons, for some different kind of displays. You know, the sleigh there makes a unique environment, and I saw several people in the small amount of time I was there. I would guess that sleigh is her highest profit center in that whole area, because several people went to there, got bags, got to it in the small amount of time that I was in the store. So that's one item. This one happens to be a gift and card store, and as many card stores where it had an upstairs loft thing. And these guys, I got to give them total credit. I fought these people tooth and nail whether we should do this. We're talking a 6,000 population town in South Missouri, okay? And they wanted to have a wild bird loft. Really cute name. Not trademarked yet. I told them they might want to. But a really cute name. And what we did is we made smaller miniature signs, and we just went across one wall in that upstairs loft and did that by the birthday. Okay? And we had to combine some of them. We couldn't do both in one thing. And this was after a meeting where the walls got hit pretty hard. We'll see here. We are a family business. It's my son Grant, I'm proud to say, in the back helping me tape. My daughter Becky happens to teach school in this kind of a very proud. She's a special ed teacher there. You got to get your kids in your spot. I did it also because you see some chairs there. We'll talk about reaching out. Even in a gift store, you can get people, we're going to talk about in a second, this market craves knowledge. They are the one people that will gladly hand you their name, their address, their email, if you respond, and I'm getting ahead of slide or two, with some good information what's going on. Okay? And in this little town of less than 6,000, we had standing room only 35 or 40 people show up for a wild birthday. I can't go and do those everywhere. I did them to help Beck out. She's new down there, my daughter. And to help that store out, and they were very kind to try it. And I had never been in that environment before where I was involved from the get-go. This is one which I do many cases. Folks say, I got so many feet, so many dollars, what do you think? Okay. They did a neat thing. There's one thing I like about this sign, and there's one thing I don't like. They talked us into, we made this little, they're in this kind of typical rural area, they're on a square. The courthouse is in the middle, and they put this sign out front all the time. It had, when they went in the spring, and then we gave them a cardinal and an Oriole sign to start with, they were supposed to buy other ones, which we did. That's the one thing we shouldn't have Orioles on the sign in November, because in Missouri they're long gone. But you learn together. But they use that billboard that, you know, that put special of the week, that sort of thing. So if you're in a traffic area, consider something like that. Again, we'll give you plans to build them, or I happen to have a guy down in the booth that Terry can build anything. He's just a marvel, and we're glad to help you with those sort of things, okay? And they came up with this sign that they just put on one side of the window, and this very, very good Hallmark store is what it amounts to, okay? They do one other thing there that they just put up that night at the meeting that I encourage you to do. To us bird lovers, our birds are our pets. We love them. They're like our dog, our cat. They put up a bulletin board to encourage people to bring in pictures. And I just wanted to plant that seed. This happens to be a hardware store in Maryland. I wanted to show you a sign. They came up with that sign. I'm impressed with it. The pergola thing in the middle, thinking about seeing the out of the box and hang. There is signage now that I want to wake all of you up to, big signage that you can go around the outside top of your store with to draw attention, the backdrop, leaf type things, and see the grid out of the box and hanging over and over again. Again, they use some of our pinwheels to be able to move things around and change it. And they use other vendors too. We're not the only folks on the face of the earth who recognize that. And this is more about what they're doing than me, them, or whoever they get it from. But just some neat concepts as far as challenging your mind. I use this photo in the back that I do believe strongly, and we'll get into the three senses in a second. Having some cedar planting in the area, I think is very important. It gives you an outdoor look, and it gives you a smell. Okay? We sell all three sights, all three senses. Sight, sound, smell, all three. When you came in, you were hearing, those of you that were here early, you were hearing bird sounds. That was not by accident. When people come to your bird department, they ought to hear bird sounds. These people are playing out over the top. Okay? This is another hardware store in Maryland. They happen to use fixtures from Maine Bucket. Those folks make very good birding fixtures. And again, out of the box and hanging, you'll see everywhere. You'll see seed underneath the feeders, things like there. You don't want to buy signs right off the get-go. You probably have signs in your store already. We call them flags. Okay, just put some of your flags up as far as headings to draw people to the department. Again, you're seeing this the wood type thing. Display I really liked. I wanted to share. I'm seeing this in several stores. It's just take an old window, box it in for your window feeders, and then put shelves underneath of it. Again, saw lots of action. The other thing I like seeing here is lots of signs. We'll talk about signs in a little bit. And make sure you walk around here. I have my staff, the store, and just do some of the signs that we do. And we'll talk about those in a second. But I was very impressed with their signage. The other thing he did, there's a product called the Sea-Doo. Well, he puts the bird on the hoop that's going to be there a lot of times, and then he actually hung the product with little S-hooks all the way around the Sea-Doo. Made it very, very easy. You see the item in use, you can just grab it and go. I wish I was smart and thought of those things, but I can copy a lot with this permission that we share all this. Again, just another view across the whole store, but showing how important signage is, letting that shopper know across the store that there's birds there. This is a very large hardware store. This is a very small percentage of the total store. Okay? So all those things we're trying to do as far as this last part of the session, we want to talk about more sales per customer visits, more potential reasons to visit you, reasons for other people to come back, how they get people besides your regulars. I want to stress that you utilize vendor PLPs and DVDs. You see down there on this corner, I love the Squirrel Buster guys here as far as their PLPs that hang off their feeders. They were even sharpened. They put them in a Santa hat for Christmas. And I kept looking out my door, and I never did see a squirrel come in with a Santa hat on. But it was a fun thing to do. But a lot of vendors have good, there's a marvelous amount of DVDs in this industry. It will pay to, go buy some of those. We have, I think, 8 DVD players in our store, folks. Okay, but most of them are those little $60 things, and all of them have paid for themselves. Whatever video you put in there, track it. I am a believer, any store that we just said this, if you're not going to have a point of purchase system to track what you're selling, you're kidding yourself. And I pray that everybody here has one. If you don't, QuickBooks can get you one very inexpensively. But you can track, if you put that DVD player up, what it's selling. You really can. So utilize what vendors provide you, but engage all the senses, sight, sound, and aroma. Okay? We think about sight a lot of time, and I start there. That Backyard Bird Center sign, I thought, did a marvelous job. For those of you that have multiple departments, to let them know where your department is, it can be so simple as Birdland. That was one up in a Canadian lawn and garden store. I think it would have been more effective if we just snuck a bird on each side of it, but still, you know where the Birdland is in that store. Okay? By the category, you guys know I believe in that. We mount them this way above the pinwheels. We've hung them with hooks. You can hang them. And you can do your own. It's not about what we're doing. It's about getting your brain thinking, how should I do my signage? You may have totally different categories, but there's all kinds of shops. We get our signs made and buy at a good price. And Signs Now. Those kind of people can make for you whatever's right for you in your market. It is also by the product. I want to take a second there. If you look here, I'm real big on, this is one of our employees. Put little signs around that say what your employee's favorite or your favorite feeder is and why. Put signs around that say made in the USA, that's important to people. Put signs around that say made of recycled plastic because green is in, that's in. What are your best sellers? What do you, new items? I mean, new, that is a magic word. But just do it. If you look around, we just got little stickers showing that, signs like that around the pinwheel. But I encourage all of you to do those things, okay? And seasonal, I happened to be on a trip. For years, we wanted to go see our vendors. We were blessed to go out to the Northeast. And this is in the Duncraft store, where their warehouse is. Just a simple thing. It is the season for a heated bird bath. Very effective. But again, the short time I was in there, several people came in. They were there to get bird seed. It was obvious. They were a Mel shoppers, M-E-L-N-M-A-L-E. We tend to be mission driven. We aren't going somewhere to browse. We're going to grab our seed, get to the car, and go see somebody. Okay? They had even the men that came in to grab their seed. That display was stopping because what? It's timely. It's something they were needing right then. And it was big and prominent enough, well signed, that it caught your attention. Directly across from where they check people out. Okay? I am big. I think you should not stop at signs. Remember movement. The thing that stops more people in our booths and trade shows and in our store is this crazy little fluttering hummingbird. We track why you stop at our booths. And more people will stop and look at that than anything. I challenge you, if you haven't used one of those in your hummingbird section, put it there. And it's not about selling the fluttering thing. It's about just getting people to stop and pause. The other thing we find is more and more we're putting things like the balloons on us. This one's moving a little fast. I should have put the slow turn motor on it. But again, just about drawing your attention to the thing somewhere in the store. So to keep that in mind, we literally now hang turning balloons over the section that we're wanting to emphasize. Like if you're emphasizing hummingbirds right now, hang above them 2 or 3 hummingbird balloon things that are turning. It'll get people to come and look. Okay? And things like the bungee cord that we did. The other movement that you can cause is by playing DVDs and things. Sound is one thing. When you came in, you can put sound over the top. the one we were playing with Birds at the East Central. Those of you that happen to be